In statistics, we moved on with chapter 4, and we talked about how to take a simple random sample. We did this yesterday, and we are now looking at specific ways to sample. This right here is a good summary of why it's good to take a sample. Sometimes I would say it's impossible to look at every value in a population, because if you have a huge population, it may be hard to track everyone down. It could be destructive, like we don't want to destroy every single automobile that we're crash testing, so we have to take a sample. Maybe it's expensive, who knows? So bad sampling methods. These are things that we want to avoid, but I will say sometimes, especially this voluntary response up here, it's impossible to avoid because you can't necessarily force someone to participate in your experiment, so you have to take volunteers. But there are methods of sampling that are bad, like these right here, because you have no control over who's doing it and who's not doing it. So you can attempt to ask people and to get a wide range of volunteers. You can even give them some incentive with money or who knows what, any kind of perks in the job they're in. But you can't force people typically. But you can avoid things like call in, text in, right on a internet site, because typically only strongly opinionated people are going to respond. This phrase or a couple of sentences right here is a key to the entire chapter. So this paragraph, I shouldn't say phrase, this paragraph right here is crucial for the whole chapter. We're trying to estimate something with this sample. And if our estimate is off, if it's underestimating or if it's overestimating, we're creating bias. So you want to make sure that your sample is as representative of the population as possible. We'll talk more about bias down the road. All right, let's look at a bad example, and then we'll talk about how to correctly do things. So one, can we trust this poll? Maybe hit pause and read through it. I would say no, because this was an online poll, voluntary response. Let's say they even did a good job with this poll, and they only allowed one IP address to vote, to say what they thought. Or maybe they used one email address. I don't know. Somehow they tried to rein in like multiple votes from one person so that only one person could vote. Somehow they had some identifier. Still, it's voluntary. That's bad. There are people that most likely, I can't say for certain, but I am 99.9% sure, had no chance of being in the sample. So if we're talking about all adults' opinions, I don't know who this people group is interested in. Maybe all athletes. There's a very, very, very good chance that on the day or the range of days that they opened this poll, that people either were not aware of the poll or they didn't have access to the internet. Who knows, for whatever reason. And it's the statistician's job to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to be in the sample. So if some athletes that you want their opinion had no awareness of the poll, then that's bias. They are being underrepresented. All right, moving on. SRS, simple random sampling. So we're going to look at a handful of different sampling methods, and the most basic one is called simple random sample, or you are allowed to just say SRS, and this means no sorting, of any kind, everyone or thing is put into a list and numbered. Now that definition that I underlined there is super, super important. So if I have a group of 50 people and I want to take a sample from those 50 people, let's say I want to take a sample of 5 people from that group of 50. Then I number everyone, and any possible group of 5 has an equal chance to be in the sample. If I'm worried about equal representation of age, gender, hair color, or I don't know what kind of characteristic I may be concerned about, then maybe SRS isn't the way to sample. But if I just need 5 random people, any people from the sample, from the population, then SRS is the way to go. There's a risk, because what if I get all 5 girls? Or what if I get all 5 males? So there's a risk there. It just totally depends on what you're wanting to study. To do this, you need to create a sampling frame. Number everyone one to n. Now, capital N refers to your population size. And lowercase n refers to sample size. So if I have 2,000 people in my population, I'm going to number everyone 1 to 2,000. And then on step 2, we want to pick our method. And describe the process. Some people make a mistake here, and I'm going to be really specific on how to do this step 2. They make the mistake of just saying randomly choose 10 people. And we need to, like, the whole purpose of the question is for you to explain how to randomly do that. So I go with 2 different methods, one of 2 different methods. One method is random number generator. And the other method is the HAT method. HAT method is the most convenient because you can grab a bucket, a hat, some kind of container, and draw pieces of paper out of the hat. Random number generator, you need a calculator or computer to do. So if you choose the random number generator, you need to make sure you refer to the sampling frame, and say without replacement. Okay, well, we need to be even more specific than that, but I'll show you an example in a second. So for the hat method, you need to put papers in a hat. Whoops. The thing I want to make sure you see is we need to mix well and draw without replacement. Finally, step 3 of doing an SRS, people or objects, whatever it is we're studying, that correspond to numbers drawn are in the sample. All right. All right, let's practice one. So we have our situation here at the end of our packet. We want to take a sample of Lubbock High students. Let's pretend we have a nice round number of 2,000 students in the population. Or enrolled or whatever. And we want to take a sample of 50. Let's go down. Let's take a sample of 30 students. All right, so that part right there, I would type for you. And then, by the way, if you don't know the population total, then you would just say number all students 1 to the number of students in the school, or to capital N, something like that. And I'm going to show you how to do the hat method to start out. All right. I'm going to go on off of those 3 steps. Number students 1 to 2,000. Write numbers on equally, identically, whatever word you want to say, sized pieces of paper. Place in a hat and mix well. Draw one number at a time without replacement. Until you have 30 numbers. Students that correspond to numbers drawn are in the sample. All right, I'll make another video where I do random number generator. I will see y'all later. Bye.